world, and welcome to the YSN Power Hour, proudly powered and sponsored by our friends at Toyota of Warren, DJ Oakley. Here we've got Scotty Mincher on the other side, because it is a Mincher Wednesday. Scotty, what's crack-a-lacking up in your neck of the woods?
Uh, I'm good, man. I'm glad that the sun is shining. It's been a good week weather-wise. Um, I've had a lot going on recently. We played a show for some of Jimmy's friends at an insurance company at the Southern Park Mall, the Feral Cats. So I sang for that show, and then the other night doing a game with Anthony. That was a lot of fun. My first softball game, Columbian and United. So that was a blast. So yeah, man, I'm feeling good. I'm ready to go. It's amazing with the sunshine and just a little bit of when you get that adrenaline flowing, whether it's sports or you're singing a song. It's amazing with those. Like I think they call them the endorphins, but what they can do for your mood. And I'm feeling good, so hoping to keep it going.
Well, that's the big thing, Scotty, is people don't realize how challenging it is to kind of fly or walk that wire without a net below you. And not only are you doing it now on stage with the Feral Cats and singing, which terrifies me. Like I dream of it, I could never do it because I know that I have a terrible voice for music. I am musically challenged, as people say, as my wife says. Let's not kid ourselves. But now you jumping on YSN, flying without a cape as well, and doing some things that a lot of people would shy away from because you just never know with live broadcasting and live TV, as everyone says, what the next step is, where it's going to go, because this thing can pivot quickly. But it sounds like you had a really good broadcast with Anthony. For you, I mean, I guess this is going to get into kind of one of the things that we're going to discuss today is what was the scariest part about doing one or the other or both for you when you first started jumping onto to the mic, for better lack of better terms?
I think the scariest part about it for me, when you talk about as far as um, singing and the music goes, the scariest part for me is like some of the certain the way certain songs sound, and then some of the notes you have to hit. Like I was worried about, am I gonna be able to hold that note? Like is my voice gonna just like crack? So when it came to singing, I guess just the biggest thing for me was just continuing to take those deep breaths. And um, if a song, if there was a lyric in a song that was like I had to go real high, like that's something I was nervous about. But having the backing vocals kind of gave me comfort because we pre-record the songs and then you hear yourself. So if you make a mistake, it's kind of drowned out by the recording a
Covered
little
up a
bit.
little bit.
The backing vocals, it's a little covered up. So that gave me was reassuring. And like anything, though, the more you do it, the more comfortable I felt. And I still always, the nerves are always there. Like I'm always nervous before, any big thing I do like that.
How is
But
it different, like from singing on a stage to talking in a microphone about sports? What are the differences for you? Like, is it the same kind of in the back of your mind? tripping you up. Because I'll be honest, Scotty, my favorite time with you is it. I value our time here on the microphone together, but you are still way more timid with a microphone in front of you than you are if we're out at double bogeys and we're just watching football or watching a sport. Like you can you can tell there's a difference in Scotty Mincher whenever there's a microphone involved.
Yeah, there is a difference. I guess I'm more civilized with the.
Behaved is more civilized, has nothing to do with it. You're just behaved whenever there's a microphone in front of you.
Yeah, I know how to at least. I don't want to say keep it professional, but I protect. I want that professionalism. I at least give it my best shot at it. Where if we're just hanging out, it's kind of no holds barred, like anything goes. And that's a fun part about it. That's a great thing about being friends. Um, I'm trying to think if there's, as far as, because you asked me about differences between singing and then like calling a game. Um, I guess with singing, because I had the backing vocals and because I've been doing it for several years, not quite a bit longer, I wasn't as nervous. Sometimes I feel like my delivery when I speak, like I could get kind of long winded. So for me, going into the Columbiana United, the softball game the other night, for me it was just about bringing that energy and making sure that if Anthony goes to me, if there's a moment where there's silence and I can add something into the broadcast, like I wanted to be quick with it, like not reckless, but I wanted to make sure I didn't hesitate either. So,
I mean, there's moments, and I've been doing this for a long time. There's moments where I'm like, what the hell am I going to say next? Like, what else can I bring to the table that does, like last night, I was doing a game and there were so many things going on that I didn't like what was happening. The game was fine, but like I didn't have the usual Wi-Fi that I was accustomed to. And I said this during the show. Something was going to go wrong because it was just one of those days. I was using school Wi-Fi, which wasn't giving me what I wanted to have. The sun was beating down on my computer, which anybody that's ever worked outside in a computer setting knows when the sun's beating down on your computer, number one, it can overheat. Number two, it's hard to see what's going on the screen. So I didn't know what commercials I was running for the longest time till the sun kind of went down. So those anxieties that you have about like, hey, I don't know what I'm going to say, or I've got to make sure I'm on my A game. Listen, do enough of them and they go away, and you've got a whole nother set of problems that you've got to worry about because it just becomes a snowball of chaos doing these live sporting events. So I'm sorry to tell you, buddy, I don't want to burst your bubble, but those anxieties will only grow as as you do more and more games.
well, that's what me and Anthony were talking about too. Is I like there's part of me, and we've had a lot of conversations about this. Maybe a little bit talked about it on the air, but definitely a lot off the air. And I think when you get sometimes when not just me and you, but anybody, when you get comfortable, it's kind of you almost you're like, okay, now I'm complacent. Like this is something I enjoy, but it's also easy. So I'm just gonna stay right here. But I was talking about with Anthony, like I'd love to eventually at least do a little bit of play by play. And he basically took that and he said, next time we do again, he's like, I'm just throwing you the Sharks. Like it's sink or swim. Like
Great.
basically, this is gonna be your inning. So um,
How'd it go? Or are you doing it next time?
next time,
Okay.
he said. So
You better
uh,
watch it because Hartwig will make you call an entire game. You'll be on a roster before you know it, where you're calling games 3 times a week. And we all
um,
know, listen, we all know that he's not going to sign you up for baseball games. You're going to be doing softball games because he wants to see more softball on YSN. Make no mistake about that. And that's not a knock on Anthony. That's just how he is.
yeah, because he's the expert on, and he's kind of like the voice of girls sports with us. So yeah, it's man, I was thinking about it today, and I'm like, it's one of those things. I'm like, I gotta get more and more out of my comfort zone, and um, I know it sounds like sometimes you know, I'm redundant, DJ, but because you're so willing to get uncomfortable and you you take chances, you take risks, and I respect the hell out of that. So I want to gradually see if I can more and more just get out of my comfort zone, take some risks, and uh, be willing to, if I mess up, be willing to, just accept it, eat it, but be better the next time. And it's a tough thing, but I want to start getting uncomfortable, I guess is what I'm saying.
While you're talking, and I can't help but laugh. I can't help but laugh because when you're talking this monstrosity, and listen, we're the only reason we're putting this up there because this is obviously a bot or some kind of spam, and Dave Ballestrino is identified it because you get this right, the ITAP credit loan. In this segment of the show is brought to you by the ITAP credit loan because that doesn't scare the hell out of everybody. But you look at this, the student loan, business loan, personal loan, and it's coming to you from apparently Ghana. Ghana, they're going to set you up within minutes in capital letters, by the way. So if you are in need of any of those loans and you definitely don't want to get ripped off, 100% don't want your identity to be stolen, make sure that you go for this Facebook message from Ghana and the ITAP credit loan. We are not we are not at all serious about that. Please, God, don't do that. Do not do that. But the best part about it is Balestrino follows up with, is that closer than Bangladesh? Which, if you've been watching this show all week, you saw that someone signed in from Bangladesh and said hi. So we are, Scotty. I hate to break it to you. We are no longer just a local regional networking program. We are worldwide, like big time in Bangladesh. I'm pretty sure that we've got YSN, like YSN All Star Game shirts are currently being shipped over to Bangladesh to make sure that they can rep it. So whenever they come up with sports or have sports in Bangladesh, YSN's going to be all over it. I can tell you that without a shadow of a doubt.
I gotta say, I would not be surprised at all in the slightest if Radar was somehow behind all this. Uh, because he's the one talking about, he's giving me suggestions every time I see him about, you should talk to DJ about this, about that, about expansion.
About loans. He's hitting us up for loans.
Yeah, and he's kind of like a robot anyway with his mind.
The
Um,
satellites turn around and it beams down to Earth and simulcasts from YSN to all over network. Yeah, I listen. I've never seen Radar in the same room as well, I've never seen people from the FBI naturally. Maybe I have, and we just don't know it, right? Radar. What if he's throwing us all for a loop here, and he's like a super spy for Russia?
I mean, he has his name, right? I mean, Pavlov.
But
I think that's
what?
Russian, right?
But it'd be perfect, right? It'd be perfect because they're
Yeah.
like, oh, listen, any super spy from Russia would probably change their name to like Smith or Johnson or like yeah, you get the drift, right? They're never gonna guess Radar Pavlov. Like we are almost they're calling our bluff, but we figured you out, Russian government. We figured you out, Putin. Now we know. We've got friends in Bangladesh. We are the United Nations of YSN now. We're coming for you, okay? When they start up sports in Bangladesh, we are going to own that particular nation. Is Bangladesh a country? Like this is where I get stupid because I just don't know.
I don't know either, but
I'm
I'm sure before long they'll have will be people will be commenting, posting pics with LFG, YSN.
Bangladesh. They'll have they'll, they'll have the 49ers Super Bowl champion shirts and then LFGYSN is in Bangladesh. That's what they'll have. Oh gosh. Bangladesh, we're coming for you, baby. No sport left behind, even in Bangladesh. I can't wait. Like we need to make one of those, you know how we make those hype videos for schools when they sign with YSN?
Oh
Like
yeah,
we need to instead of a logo, we just make it their flag, the Bangladesh flag, if there is one. And then we say we've signed Bangladesh. Like we're signing countries now. I'm gonna look up Bangladesh because I don't know enough to even speak about it.
yeah.
All right, what are we talking about other than Bangladesh, Scotty?
We're big time now. Well, to
It's a
start,
country. It's a
I
country in
wanted.
South Asia.
It is a country. Okay, good to know. Now we know.
Go ahead.
But I on the show today, something I thought of because I was thinking about this after, I think it was after the news of, it was about a week ago in the news that Reggie Bush was getting his Heisman back from
Oh yeah.
USC. And I just started thinking about like individual awards and things like that, and thinking about it on every level, like high school, college, and the pros. And I guess that's what I wanted to get into today. One of the things I wanted to get into, if you could win an award in high school, on the collegiate level, and then in the pros, any sport goes, like what would you want to win individual wise?
Individual wise, that's a tough one. MVP. I mean, it's hard because I used to love the Walter Payton Award in NFL because of what it stood for. I still like what it stands for, don't get me wrong, but now it's so commercialized that it's like, okay, this is and not take it. Cam Hayward won last year, and I was very excited for that. But it's so commercialized of, hey, we want you to do this. You should go do this for your community. Like professional athletes and athletes and student athletes in general should want to give back to their communities and take a little bit of what we like to call community pride, right? But to have an award to kind of persuade people to do that, I think is a little weird. And I maybe weird's not the right answer, but or the right word, but um, to me, it's a little bit, I don't know, selfish, right? Because now you need an award to go do stuff in your community in a big way. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not behind that, but you know,
Yeah,
that being said, I really want the MVP award and whatever. You know, I don't know. I'm definitely being flip flop right now.
yeah. I don't. It's one of those things like because it's something you should do. Like, why are they like using that persuasion to say, "Oh, if you go do this, you'll like." I mean, really, it's like one of those things. Do you want like a cookie? Like that's
Well, I
something
mean,
you.
you look at. I mean, most of these players have foundations. And listen, I'm gonna be a little controversial right now. Most of these players have foundations because most, by the way, most. Can we underline that, underscore that? Most of these players have foundations and things set up in their name because they want something in their name, right? It's yes, they're giving back to the community, but hey, I'm doing this. You know, to me, it's a little bit of it is selfish a lot of times. What they do is unselfish. Don't get me wrong, but a lot of times it's and this is how it works. If you've never been to one of these things, a lot of times it's, hey, me and my boys are going to show up and we're going to be there for 2 hours, but the event's going to last the entire day. So they're getting you to sign up to better the community. They're coming in, putting in FaceTime, signing some autographs, making sure that they're picking up or they're handing out when the cameras are on, and then they take off. Where in reality, these things should be, hey, we're the first one there, the last one to leave. We're making sure that our name's on this. But essentially, a lot of these and I'm sure a lot of people are going to take offense to this. A lot of these major athletes and things like that are in name only. You know what I mean? It's they only show up to get people there to do the work, the job, and they get the credit for it. So it's a little bit weird, and especially then they get a chance to be, have a trophy and get a trophy for it. So for me, it's a little bit weird. Whereas in reality, like when you're raising money and awareness and things like that, you make it about them. You push them, push them, push them, push them, and you try to be as not in the spotlight only when you need to be. But you do the grunt work on the other side and the work that you're asking other people to do. But we'll get into leadership styles another date and time. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not crazy about it, Scotty. I'm not in love with. I love the basis of the Walter. Excuse me, Walter Payton Award. But at this point, like I think it's commercialized. I think it's just they get to wear the patch. They're the only ones, and you get to wear it every year. As a badge of honor, no matter where you go. But I think that there's a lot of that is commercialized. And it's not for the right reasons anymore.
Yeah, you just kind of feel like it's not as genuine, is
Well,
what you're saying,
okay.
basically.
So have you ever seen the I don't know if it's even a meme. It's a cartoon, right? And it's a person who bought a sandwich from a sandwich shop and goes out and feeds uh, a homeless person, but they're taking a picture of themselves feeding the homeless person. So, like, instead of doing the right thing in their eyes, in their perspective, and doing it for the right reasons, they're doing it to garner attention for themselves for doing what they think is right. It's
Yeah,
crazy. It's we're a society that constantly needs pats on the backs now. We need that participation trophy. We need all of that stuff. And some people need that. Some people need the likes, the comments, the shares, and I get it. I understand it. I can appreciate that. But that's not who I'm trying to be and how I'm trying to raise my kids. And I'm not on a pedestal. I'm not on a soapbox right now. It's just I think there's too much of that because we see celebrities doing that. We see athletes doing that in our culture. They're the influencers, they're leading the way, and we're going to do what they do. It's a copycat world, and guess what? If they're doing that, our kids are going to do that. And if our kids are listening to music and watching stuff on television that is not living up to our culture and what we want, then our kids are going to act more like that because they think it's cool and they're of influence. than what we are trying to teach and educate into our children. But the same thing works in our society. Like our adults do this, you know, like how many shoes do you see people wearing that are absolutely stupid looking, but they wear it because their favorite celebrity, their favorite athlete wears it? You know, I'm just as guilty. I've got 300 jerseys in my closet, you know, but I try to pick those jerseys, Kenny Pickett and Antonio Brown aside, based on character. You know what I mean? Like the only time I get a little crazy, Scotty, WWE shirts. Sometimes you gotta like the bad guy.
Well, and that's like, because it's one of those things where in the WWE, I mean, it's it's just all about or a lot about the entertainment. Like, it's a little, I mean, you could say like football is entertainment like the NFL, but WWE, I don't know, it just feels like extra where it's just more like
It's all sports. It's all sports entertainment. It's all sports, and we've been saying this for a long time. People that are really good on YSN are usually what WWE fans because they understand the sports entertainment value. Now, like the NFL's caught on to that, the Major League Baseball's caught on to that. You've seen the NBA catch on to that. You see college football catching on to that. College sports in general catching on to that. They understand the element of sports entertainment. And that's what we've tried to do from the jump here at YSN, not to turn it back to YSN, but to your point, like it borderline feels fake sometimes, but there's elements obviously the games aren't scripted. We have nothing to do with the final output of games in high school, obviously, or at the amateur level. But to make it a little bit bigger than it is kind of cool. And I think there's an element of people that out there that enjoy that, especially parents. You look at parents, and we get yelled at all the time, and we get commended all the time. I don't want to say like it's just bad, but like the 80% of people love what we do and don't say anything about it, which is fine, absolutely fine. But you get 20% of the squeaky wheel that says, "Hey, my kid wasn't this, or my kid did this, and you guys didn't show it." And like I get it, I understand it. We're gonna get those from time to time, but at the end of the day, we made everybody else's kid feel big, and that parent feels like we neglected their kid. That's not a good feeling for us either. But we never do it on purpose. But it's you look around and you're like, oh man, everybody else is getting shine. Where's ours? Where's ours? Where's ours? That's what's been so effective with YSN and why we've grown so quickly is because all these other schools look at us and they go, hey, how do we do that? We can do this on our own. We can do that. Ain't gonna happen. Like you can't do what we do on the basis and on the scale that we do on your own. There's going to be people that follow you, absolutely, but the shine that we provide student athletes, the heroic sense of belonging within their own communities that we provide to student athletes is unlike anything else that you will ever see in this country from here until eternity. That's a fact. That's a fact. I mean, go look at our website. Did Anthony tell you about how many stories we did last night?
He didn't give me a number. No.
Over 40 stories from last night into about noon today. 40 stories, all local, regional. You got it. That makes almost 80 stories. I think we're actually at 80 stories in the last 48 hours.
That's incredible, man.
That's why people love us, right? And you're going to read stories, and you're going to see your neighbors' kids in there. You're going to see your neighbors in there. You're going to see all of that stuff. The kids that you bump into at the grocery store, the student athletes that you see on YSN, naturally you're going to be on there. The ones you see on these shows. That's the cool part is you look at this and you go, okay, how do like 7.5 years ago, I look, how do we change the game? How do we change the game? Now I've got a group full of great people and great organizations, great sponsors, advertisers, great partners all across the board that go, hey, you keep doing what you're doing. We're just going to watch and cheer you on. We're going to do that the whole way. And it's all about knowing kind of your role, right? And you, my friend, last night, full circle, expanded your role here at YSN because now you're a huge valuable commodity because you're able to go do games and you're able to put that shine from what you do in shows like this on Wednesdays into the community. And now when you roll up in Rollies or Rolly Brothers or whatever, and you guys are shopping for food for the Mansion de la Scotti, people are going to bump into you and be like, hey, I saw you on YSN, or you talked about my kid on YSN. Can't thank you enough. That, my friend, that is what it's all about. Not about getting praise for that necessarily, but putting somebody else ahead of you and praising them. That is what the game is. And you're winning, Scotty. You're winning, baby. The championship belt belongs to you, my friend.
Uh, oh man, that means a lot. Thank you. But it's really true, DJ. When you talked about, you know, letting other people, giving them a chance, and getting a chance to see the youth in the spotlight, and um, like people recognizing you, but it's always like, yeah, I was on the broadcast when I saw great home runs, or I saw a milestone for the season reach, or an example like a Missouri Valley Athletics Conference clincher. Like, it's great, to be able to do something that you like and that it's fun. But when you see the kids out there going out and they're having a great time, and you see the smiles when there's success and winning, and the cheering from the rest of the team in the dugout, it's like it does feel good when you're able to do things for yourself and have success for yourself. But it feels even better when you could brighten someone else's day, or being a part of brightening their day or their night. And that's what I really, after the other night, I really took a lot away from that. It's like, wow, like we really do give these athletes, kind of their own personal showcase, and it feels really good.
Yeah, it does. It does because what they're doing is not normal, right? And we look at it and we go, oh, okay, they're just playing baseball. Oh, they're playing softball. Oh, they're playing whatever sport it may be. You can plug that in wherever you like. But the dedication, the time, the efforts, any parent, all they want to hear 99% of the time is how much you appreciate what their child has done, right? And I know this better than anybody now. Now I get it. Things are starting to click for me from that standpoint about how powerful of a vessel we have here. But with great power comes great responsibility, right? And Anthony and I talk.
Spider-Man.
We get again, we get these emails, messages all the time, and it used to be red alert status. It used to be, oh my gosh, we've got to fix this. We've got to do, like, sometimes parents just want to vent. And unfortunately, sometimes we're the guy, we're the gal in the middle of the road that's going to get run over because, people hold us to a certain standard. And to borrow a Tomlinism, the standard is the standard. And when we sink below that standard, people are going to call us out on it, and I appreciate that. I'm one of the few, I think, that appreciates when people hold us accountable to what they think our standard is. Now, we have what we feel is the YSN way or the YSN standard, so to speak. But at the end of the day, we have to understand that there's other people's opinions and other people's values of what we get. And especially lately, we hear parents, moms, dads, grandmas, grandpas, aunts, uncles from all over saying, listen, I'm going to start this off with, we can't appreciate enough what you guys do, or what your company does, but here's something that we're seeing, or here's something that we saw. I can't tell it, like, there's never a time where I sit there and I go, oh my gosh, another, maybe once or twice. But in reality, I'm like, okay, where did we slip? Where did we fall? How do we pick ourselves up and get better from this, instead of sitting there and, complaining that someone's complaining? Like, there's a standard that people hold us to, and an accountability that we hold ourselves to, from, reporting from, and we are very much Joker journalism here. It's we're never going to win an Emmy. We would never, I don't think, put ourselves up for an Emmy or an award like that. We're not in the business of winning awards. We're in the business of winning. That's it. You can put whatever you want after it, but we're in the business of winning for the people that we represent, for our schools, for our communities, for our student athletes, all of that stuff. It's never about us. If it were about us, Anthony and I would probably live in a lot bigger house than we do. You know what I mean? Like, Anthony be rolling around on spinners in his chair. I would have an Escalade. I mean, there's a lot of things that I would have if it was about us. The reality is, it's not. It's about these student athletes, and there's an authenticity, Scotty, that you probably saw last night in the booth, that we've kind of built into YSN and our announcers, that it's not about us. And if it is about you, then you probably don't belong here. We make sure that it is about the coaches, it is about the student athletes, it is about the communities, it's about the people that put us in a position we are, such as Toyota of Warren and all the other sponsors and advertisers on our network. It's about our partners like WFMJ. It's about all the other partners that the FCA had a great conversation with them today. It's about putting them in the forefront and shining a light on them. So often, today's day and age, media wants to sit there and shine a light on themselves and get on their pedestal and speak. Journalism was never meant to put that person, the person that is journaling, in the spotlight. It's about reporting the news and not being the news. It's about reporting the game and not being the game. That's the difference. We will never sit there and, this is a golf tee, but imagine it's a flashlight. We will never sit there and shine the light back on us. That's not what it's about. You get some of that by definition because of what we do, but we're never going to pander for it, because that's not what we want. Our pillars are completely different than I think everybody else is in journalism nowadays, and I think that's why people appreciate us. That's the only thing I can think of. And people can tell me if I'm wrong. They can tell me if I'm an a-hole. They usually do anyway. But but I think that's the difference, Scott. I think that's why you like it. Like, nobody gave me a chance, right? From that standpoint, there's a lot. Our roster is full of people that are never going to get a chance until they do, and look what they do with it. They take the ball and they are like Barry Sanders. Nobody's going to bring them down. And your name, right on that list, baby. Scotty Mincher, Barry Sanders, side by side comparison.
Oh, thanks, man. And he may be. I mean, definitely. As far as my lifetime goes, I should say our lifetime, because we're around the same age. Probably he definitely really got me into like watching the NFL. Maybe the best running back. Of our generation. He's definitely out there. So for you to put me in the same breath as him, uh, that means a lot, man. But I just I just like, and it sounds corny, but there's just something just so rewarding and so special about making other people smile or giving them a chance to shine. And yeah, it's fun, getting for myself to be able to, show people what I can do. But what I like even more is just calling a game, and with it being my first game, I saw 2 home runs. Like it doesn't get any better than that.
All right,
So
Scott, it does get better than that. We're gonna talk about that right now because I'm sure Anthony gave the home run call, right?
he did.
Well, guess what, pal? It's wish season. It's not Christmas. It's wish season. It's time for you to give the home run call that the people deserved last night. I'm not saying Anthony's being selfish. I'm not. But I'm saying we're going to give you your shot because you're going to need to give the world what they want so very badly. And that is the home run call from Scotty Mincher. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, here's that net, Scott, or here's that flying without a net. Here we go. Scotty Mincher's home run call from last night that we should have heard.
All right, here's the pitch, and it's swung on and absolutely tattooed by Mackenzie Gamble. That ball is way, way back, and that ball is coming back a tater as she trots around the bases joyously and puts an exclamation point on this game for the Clippers. Oh boy, that was a long shot. What a homer.
That's what I'm talking about. That is what America needs more of right there. More home run calls from Scotty Mincher. That's all right. Okay. We're going to play a little game. We're going to play if Scotty were to call it in history, right? We do 60 seconds all the time. Now it's time to pick moments in professional sports history that if Scotty Mincher was on the call because he's now an official announcer at YSN, what it would sound like. The first one, the big one, The Miracle on Ice with Scotty Mincher. Made famous by Al Michaels, now Scotty Mincher. Ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do it.
The Miracle on Ice. Here we go. So the clock is ticking down. This is USA versus Russia. Such a huge upset it is. No one expected this from the people of America. There's only 5 seconds left in the game. That is it. The United States has defeated Russia. That's all, folks. What a special moment.
USA! 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 Scotty Mincher! Yeah! Let's go! That's how you light up America, baby. You give them hope. You give them hope, Scotty. You just gave everybody. There's people all over the United States and Bangladesh that are standing up and giving you the roses that you deserve, my friend. The roses you deserve. And those Bangladesh people are screaming. I can hear them from East Palestine right now.
That was, thank you. God, I don't know why the nerves took over a little more on that one, but it's authentic, at least. I will say that. So
okay, here is the one that is going to make you a hero in one particular country. Ladies and gentlemen, our final, Scotty calls it, is when Bangladesh wins the World Cup in soccer. All right, Scotty, ready? 3, 2, for everybody in Bangladesh. Let's go.
it is a 3-2 lead for Bangladesh. Just a couple minutes into the extra time, and that's gonna be it. No more stoppage time. Bangladesh World Cup champions, and they just signed with YSN this past year. It can't get any better for Bangladesh. Oh my goodness, this is just everybody's going bananas right now.
Well done, Bangladesh. What a year for Bangladesh. They just signed with YSN. Oh, Scotty, I love it, man. I love it. I love it. All right. Let's shift gears here. Final few minutes of the show. It doesn't get any better from Bangladesh. Um, the draft happened. You and I have not had a conversation since the draft, by the way.
We
Which
have not.
this is interesting, and I want to know how you grade your Browns, and I also want to know how you grade out the Steelers in their interesting draft that they had.
Yeah, I would say for the Browns and the Steelers, and I saw your when you were on with WFMJ prior to the draft, and you ended up hitting the nail exactly on the head. Um, for the Browns and Steelers, it was a lot of kind of like those meat and potatoes, not flashy, but the necessary picks to make for AFC North football. And with the Browns, with their limited picks, with it being the last year of the Watson trade and not having a first rounder, I think what they did with limited resources, like I'm not going to say it was a great draft or even a really good draft, but I thought it was okay. I'd probably give the Browns a C plus draft grade. Steelers, because they had the first rounder, I give them a little higher. I'd say B minus to B plus. But I have a hard time giving out A's to any draft because we truly don't know until these guys get on the field during training camp. We don't know what these guys are going to do. But I will say um, I do think the Steelers did a little better in the draft, as much as it pains me to say. But I'm not freaking out with the Browns. I thought they did okay, but a little surprised that one of their picks weren't like a little more flashy early on. A little bit surprised by that, but with the moves that the Browns and the Steelers have made all off season, I mean, they've really been aggressive in other areas. So I guess you could see why they weren't as aggressive in the NFL draft, as they're both really we're chasing Baltimore, but in this division, I think most people would agree. I mean, you could flip the order 1 through 4. Um, it could be any different order. Just because Baltimore won it last year, it doesn't mean it's going to go exactly that way again. So the Browns and Steelers, I thought they had a good draft. A little surprise. I thought maybe the Steelers would take a little bigger swing. I thought maybe they try to work out. They get that Brandon Ayuk deal done. I don't know if that's dead, but other than that, I think it was a good draft, and it shows that the Browns and the Steelers, they're at a point where they're they haven't reached the point where they're great teams, but right now they're both really good teams, and it's kind of those good teams. What good teams do is just kind of add depth to the roster because they're both coming off playoffs last year. So
It's going to be interesting. I mean, I look at the draft the Steelers had, and I love it. I love it. I put $20 on the Steelers to win the division. If they win, $750 back. I like it.
Yeah.
I like the odds, Scotty. I'm not gonna lie to you. I know I'm a Steelers fan. I know I'm a homer. I know I get it. But you know I didn't feel real good last year about the Steelers. I told you there's a window coming. This is that window, and that offensive line is dangerous. And if Peyton Wilson works out in the linebacker position, oh boy, imagine not having to deal necessarily with TJ Watt all the time, but you got Peyton Wilson, who's the best linebacker in college football, and you got Patrick Queen as well. Oh yeah, and you've got uh Highsmith, whatever his name is, the other guy, Alex Highsmith, over on the other. Like, come on, man, come on. Steelers are in win mode now. I said that on FMJ. I stand by it. The Browns are too, but I think they're a little bit restricted because of number 4. I think number 4's got them by the boys. That's a little dangerous, and you're gonna be restricted for the next couple years.
Yeah, and that's a price the Browns paid. As you said, though, if they win one Super Bowl in these next couple years, it's worth the next,
Do you? And I'm not going to judge. Do you see the Browns winning the Super Bowl with the team they have right now? Can they beat the Chiefs?
I really do think they can. One, because I made the prediction 5 years ago, and this is going into year number 4 now. So, I'm gonna stick by that. But 2 is just based on what I saw in the field last year. They were tied with the Ravens. They had the top seed record in the AFC before Deshaun Watson went out, and then they had some losses and fell off. The Ravens clinched the 1 seed, but before Watson went out, they were tied with Baltimore. So the potential it's definitely there. I think they could beat Kansas City. Will they? I mean, who knows? But I do think they could.
Predictions sure to go wrong. Predictions sure to go wrong. Who's in the AFC Championship next year?
I'm gonna say. I'm going with hell. I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna say Browns, Steelers, AFC Championship.
Oh my gosh!
For all to go to the Super Bowl.
And then obviously you're taking the Browns.
I have to take the Browns. Yeah.
You know how hilarious it'd be if you'd be like, "No, I'm taking the Steelers." I think that I'm gonna use my homer. I think the Steelers are gonna be dangerous in the playoffs if they can stay healthy. I think the Texans are gonna knock off the Chiefs. I think they're a very dangerous team, and I think they have they have Cleveland to thank for that. So I think that is I think that's how that cookie crumbles. But I
know we're just about out of time. Could I ask you one question about the Steelers? So I've been thinking about this quite a bit. Do you think because the Steelers did not pick up Justin Fields, his option, his 5th year, do you think that basically means that unless Russ gets hurt, they're riding with them no matter what? Or do you see a world if Russ struggles, or let's say in preseason or training camp, Justin Fields plays them? Do you see a world where Fields could get on the field, or do you think the Steelers are riding and dying with Russ?
I think that I forget who I was watching. It might have been Adam Schefter on Pat, but I think he said something about, or no, it was Colin Cowherd. I was listening to him. 66 quarterbacks played in the NFL last year. Played. I mean, you look at what happened in Pittsburgh. 3 quarterbacks played for Pittsburgh last year. So, and we really didn't have one if you think about it. Like Mitch Trubisky stinks. Kenny Pickett stinks. I can say that now. When Mason Rudolph is your best quarterback on your depth chart, you're in a little bit of a. I mean, they had to have called Duck Hodges at some point during that last season and prayed that he came back. But in all seriousness, I think they look at that and they go, "Listen, we got Russell Wilson, who's an MVP, Super Bowl champion, and we've got Justin Fields, who is a franchise-changing quarterback." And the conversation in Chicago before he came over was, if he was on a different team, would he be any better? And it was a resounding yes. And the fact that Ryan Poles over in Chicago, for some reason, loves the Steelers enough to just give people away and give draft picks away for scraps. Yeah, I think Justin Fields, I think we paid our quarterbacks a combined like $4 million or something like that for this year. And what's your guy getting?
Yeah, he's getting annually. I think it's like 45 mil.
Yeah. So I mean,
Yeah,
that's incredible, and what a weapon that is for the Steelers. And Omar Khan is taking advantage of that in a big way. But to answer your question, I think that if Russ Wilson, as he's not a spring chicken anymore, if he does get hurt, we have another first string type quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, we're not scrambling, because I think they understand this could be a very special year with bringing in, a new offensive coordinator that likes to run the ball. And then both of those quarterbacks are very good in the play action game. So you do your own math. We're not going to be running jet sweeps every other down. So it's going to be a little bit harder to figure out what play is coming. And these guys are a little bit smarter. I would argue they're even smarter than Roethlisberger, because remember, it was predictable was the word that everybody used for the Steelers offense. I think they're going to go the opposite way. They're going to make sure that you can't read very well what the Steelers bring to the table. Artie Smith's a great offensive coordinator. Maybe not a great head coach. Great offensive coordinator, great offensive mind. I'm excited, Scotty. Pirates stink. Last time we talked, I think they were undefeated. Now they stink. Now they're being Pirates again. So yeah, I'm ready. Penguins are out of the playoffs. I'm ready for some Pittsburgh Steelers football.
well, yeah, and you could always, in the meantime, though. I mean, there's not the animosity like it is for Brown Steelers. I'll take you back on the guards bandwagon, baby. But the one more thing, I lied. I actually have one more thing for you. For the Browns and the Steelers, do you still see the Bengals as a legitimate big time threat, or do you think they peaked with Burrow?
No, they're dead. I mean, and I hate to say that because they'll probably win the division or something stupid, and somebody will play this back and say, "Ha ha, you're an idiot." Da, da, da. I mean, we're talking about NFL on May 1st, but T. Higgins is out, Hutchinson's out. They're trying to get out of there. How long until Joey Burrow says, "Hey, trade me"? And I don't think they're going to trade him to anybody in the AFC, unless they give him a king's ransom. So, like, the Bengals are bengling. That's what they're doing. So, congrats. That's going to do it for our show. Radar threw one of these up here, Scotty. He's asking, what are you doing with your summer in 2024? So, on behalf of the Russian Espionage Association, what are you doing with your summer in 2024?
Hopefully, I mean, maybe, we could call a game together. Who knows? I think that would be outstanding if we can do that. The rest of the summer, I hope to get out to another Guardians game or two at the least, and maybe even do some swimming. I'm doing therapy. Swimming would be good to add on top of it. So yeah, I'd like to do a lot. Maybe even check out some a concert or two. So we'll see. But a lot I want to do. We'll see if we get to all of it though.
All right, since you've been doing all the calls, we put you on the spot a couple times today. Why don't you close our show out and wish everybody adieu?
All right. I hope everybody has a great day. Thank you for everybody that's encouraged me, was encouraging at the game, and all my the people that have my back at YSN, you included. DJ, hope everyone has a great rest of their Wednesday, and talk to you guys again soon with maybe some more calls. I don't know. I kind of like that, DJ. So you might have created a monster now.
I
You might
love
be
it.
on to something.
I love it. We'll see you guys tomorrow right here on the YSN Power Hour, brought to you by our friends at Toyota of Warren. Peace. YSN thanks you for